In the US, you are generally in the middle class when you earn an income between $50,000 and $150,000 per year. That's for most parts of the US, and of course, people will argue forever online on what actually defines the middle class based on income. It can go up to hundreds of thousands in certain cities, but in general, we're going to be talking about that type of middle class lifestyle where you earn a decent income every year, but you're still very much in the middle class, living a middle class lifestyle, and falling prey to some of the middle class traps that keep you stuck in the middle class forever. There's definitely nothing wrong with being in the middle class. I personally am, and I'm very happy with where we are financially, but a lot of people do have the desire to move from the middle class to the upper middle class and then beyond to the upper classes and to be wealthy. So there is a strong innate desire in many people to make that happen. But unfortunately, a lot of people are falling prey to these middle class traps that keep you stuck from moving up to that next class, that keep you stuck from growing your wealth in general. So we're going to talk about the 7 different middle class traps that keep you stuck and what you can do about it. The first middle class trap that people are falling into is high car payments. The car payments these days are incredibly high. The average is over $700 per month. Even if you're getting a used car, you're probably paying over $500 per month. And these are the averages. You can be paying a lot more each month, and so many middle class people are doing this every single month. This is definitely killing a lot of people's ability to build wealth because they are putting so much money each month toward a depreciating asset. And it's also an area where people aren't necessarily being honest with themselves because a lot of middle class people have convinced themselves that they need a $100,000 SUV to go drop off their kids at their school or drive them around to soccer and things like that. And there is definitely a race to get the biggest, best car in the US, and a lot of people don't want to admit that maybe you need less of a car, maybe you need to get something smaller, something older, and no one really likes to do this, to be honest. And even I want to upgrade my car sometimes and think, oh, everyone else has a much nicer car than me. I want to fit in too. But when you do this, you're taking away that $1,000, you're putting it toward a car instead of putting it toward something that will be an asset for you later. Your car is going to continue dropping in value, and that $1,000 a month could be put towards your investment. It could be put toward a rental house. It could be put toward anything that is going to grow in value where you make more money on that money. But instead, a lot of middle class people are putting $800, $900, $1,000 a month towards their cars each month so that they have something that they love, that they spend a lot of time in and they fit in with. And this is just one of the really common middle class traps that a lot of us are falling into. So it's definitely one to watch out for. If you currently are spending a lot on your car and you're kind of wondering why you're stuck in the middle class, it might be because you're spending so much money on your car. This is especially true when you have an interest rate that's higher. So if you're paying a car loan that has an 8%, 13% interest, something like that, or even higher if you had really bad credit when you got your loan, you are really wasting a lot of your money, to be honest. When you're paying all of that interest on a depreciating asset, it's not the way to get out of the middle class. It's not the way to build wealth, and it's just in general not the best idea financially. The next middle class trap that is really common and stopping people from accumulating wealth and getting out of the middle class is using debt as a lifestyle. So many people use credit cards these days. I use credit cards, and they do it because there is a great value in getting points and also being able to travel for free because you're using credit cards. When you're doing it right, when you're doing it well, you can get some really amazing benefits. We have had thousands of dollars in free travel because we use credit cards, because we open new credit cards. But allowing that type of lifestyle to get out of hand is really, really easy. Even me, someone that makes personal finance content on the internet, can find myself overspending with my credit cards and realizing that there might be a balance the next month because I can't pay it off. And a lot of people are doing the same thing because most people, the average American that has a credit card does have a balance that carries over, and it's multiple thousands of dollars that every month they're paying 20-25% interest on. And this is just a losing equation mathematically when you're trying to get out of the middle class and build wealth. If you are paying that much on debt, which credit cards are debt, you are going to be not moving in the right direction. You just can't move in the right direction and invest enough money and earn enough money to get out of that situation if you're continually adding to your debt and you're using that debt to fund a lifestyle you can't afford. You can definitely build wealth while still using credit cards at the same time. I'm not anti-credit card by any means, but you have to be really mindful and very aware of what you're doing. And I find that most people using credit cards are not doing that. They're not being really strict with their spending. If you're in the middle class and you can't get ahead, it might be because you are not using credit cards in a responsible way. So you might need to get really serious with yourself and either cut those out entirely or change your habits around credit card use. You can definitely use them to get free travel and to get points and get all these amazing perks. But if you're not doing it in a way that's responsible, it can definitely backfire and put you even further away from getting out of the middle class. Debt is so common in most of our lifestyles that we don't even think about this, but having no debt gives you so much more freedom and so many more choices in life and catapults you toward the next class and toward the next accumulation phase because you're able to put so much more money toward investments and toward your future. Another middle class trap people are falling into is keeping up with the Joneses. And like I said, this is kind of part of why people are getting bigger and fancier and more expensive cars that they pay for every month. But basically everyone wants to keep up with the people in their social group, in their social class, and the people that they see every single day. And when this is happening, you're kind of just stacking on top of each other. So this person gets a nicer car, then this person gets a nice car, and this person gets a nicer house, and this person gets a nicer house. And it just kind of keeps going. It can be very hard to step back from that hamster wheel of accumulation, of consumption, of looking good to other people. Looking poor isn't always the most fun thing to do. It can be a real mental game when you are trying to look a certain way to other people and build wealth behind the scenes. But that pressure of keeping up with the Joneses, of maintaining a certain lifestyle, maintaining a certain spending habit, that is something that keeps people in the middle class forever because they are spending so much money, sometimes spending more than they even have to keep up with people, to look a certain way. And when you're doing that, you're not able to build wealth. You're not able to put money into investments like you need to if you want to get out of the middle class. When you're in the middle class and you are living above your means because you're trying to keep up with other people who might have a bigger income than you, that's a really hard habit to break. But if you ever want to get ahead and move ahead, then you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to look at your expenses, what you're really spending, what you actually need to spend versus what you're spending to keep up with people, and make some serious cuts there. Along those lines, another middle class trap is not investing enough money. Too many people in the middle class do not invest their money at all, let alone enough money. If you want to build wealth that gets you out of that hamster wheel of the middle class, basically you have to be putting money aside into investments that grow and then compound on themselves. You need your money to be working for you. That is what wealthy people do, and that's why they stay wealthy and get even wealthier. Their money is out there working for them and growing. And too many middle class people are not able or willing or can find the money in their everyday budget because expenses are high. So they're not able to put that money into investments and grow as they should be doing if they want to get to the next level. Saving money isn't enough. You have to be putting your money into investments that grow at a higher rate than a savings account. And honestly, if you're not investing enough for retirement, you are going to be really in a worse place later off. You might, instead of moving up from the middle class, you might be going down from the middle class. And honestly, you probably don't want to live your later years in a lower class situation where you have no money. So you probably need to be investing even more than you're currently investing if you're in the middle class right now. Despite all of the rising costs and inflation in the last few years, you definitely need to be finding ways to put money aside for the future because you don't want to leave yourself vulnerable in those later years. So definitely take stock of this and see if you're investing enough. And if you're not, maybe raise it 1% and put 1% more of your income into investments this year. Another middle class trap along the lines of income is relying only on one income stream. And it's really tiring to hear that you need multiple income streams. Even though I am personally a huge fan of side hustles, my side hustle became my full-time job, but it's truly a disservice to yourself as a middle class person to only earn income in one way. And as we've seen in the last, couple years, layoffs and your job disappearing with no notice is a thing. It has happened to way more people than you probably expect. I personally have been laid off before a couple times, and every time I got laid off, it was just devastating. Even with those side income streams, I still felt so terrible. And when you get laid off and you don't have anything on the side, you don't have any investments, you have no safety net, it's a really scary place to be. And a lot of middle class people are so focused on their income and they feel so secure in it that they don't think about other income streams. And that's just a mistake. It's a trap. If you do have a really awesome, cushy government job that you know you'll never get fired from, that's amazing. But that's unfortunately not everyone, especially in the US, where a lot of us don't have those nice setups with a pension and a job that they'll never get fired from. But most of us are living with some level of job insecurity. So if you are in a position where you could be laid off, even if you don't think it's really likely, it could still happen. So you need to think about ways that you can earn money outside of your actual job, even if that's just building up your investments so it's earning money for you. You need to be coming up with a plan, making sure that if you are laid off, you know what to do, and never rely just on one income stream because it could disappear at any time. There's no guarantees. Another middle class trap that people fall into is focusing on their income instead of their net worth. You may have noticed a few times in this video, I'm talking about accumulating wealth and building your wealth. So that is what your net worth is. Basically all of the things that you own minus the things that you owe, that's your net worth. And that is way more important when you're trying to move from one class to another than your income. You may have heard before, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And that is a phrase that's really, really important because you can make as much money as you can ever imagine and you could still spend it all. You could spend every single cent, and lots of people do that, unfortunately. Some people make millions and spend more than that per year and they end up with nothing. But you could make a really reasonable, even lower end middle class income, but if you keep 40% of it, you're going to eventually build up a nest egg of investments that's so large, it's making you more money than your job is. And having that higher net worth that is working for you, that's growing for you, is how you get out of the situation you're currently in. High income will never guarantee wealth. It's really what you keep of your income and how you invest it. So that's the really important equation when you are thinking about how to get out of the middle class, how to grow wealth, how to become upper class or upper middle class. You need to be focusing on your net worth, what you're keeping of your money, how you're investing it, how you're making it grow instead of just what you're bringing in. That's only one part of that equation. And the final middle class trap that we have kind of touched on already is actually lifestyle creep. So this is something that happens as you earn more money, as your income goes up, as you get those higher paying jobs, especially as you get into your 30s and 40s, your expenses will likely go up as well. You will want a nicer house, a nicer car, nicer clothes. You will want to stay in nicer places when you travel. Everything about your lifestyle can be upgraded and can cost more money. And many people in the middle class do upgrade their life in that way. There's nothing really wrong with upgrading your life. It's something that most of us want to do and should do. In some areas, you really should take that opportunity to live a nicer lifestyle. The problem comes when you upgrade everything, everywhere, all at the same time. Every time you get something, you want something nicer, when there's no end to the lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is okay on some level, but when you're just constantly upgrading and constantly outspending your income, that's when it becomes a problem. And unfortunately, a lot of us in the middle class do that because there's always something nicer that we could have. There's always another luxury item that is just beyond our reach and we want it. And when we reach for that and then we reach for another and another and another, and we're constantly getting those higher priced items, we find that that income doesn't go as far. And when you're constantly letting lifestyle creep get into your life, your income is going to slowly shrink and shrink and shrink. Even though you're making more than you ever thought you ever could, your income will not go as far as you think, I promise. When lifestyle creep is a habit instead of something that you allow occasionally, that's when your income is going to struggle and you're going to wonder where all your money went, and you're going to be stuck in your middle class situation for a lot longer than you would like. So those are a few of the middle class lifestyle traps that I've seen that keep people stuck where they are when they still really want to get ahead. So if any of these are affecting you, definitely take some time, think about it, think about ways you could change your situation. All of these are definitely possible to get past. They're even possible to allow in your life on some level and still build wealth around those things. You just have to be really thoughtful and disciplined with your habits and with what you're doing. If you want to go up on the financial ladder, you can do that. It's definitely possible. If you want to get up to the upper middle class, upper class, if you want to build wealth, totally possible. I believe that a lot of us can do it. You just have to be aware of what you're spending, how you're handling money, and how to make those changes to get to the next level where you want want to be. And if that is you, definitely check out this next video. I'll see you over there.